everybody. It's Crystal. Um, I wanted to create a video for twins today related to what I'm calling, or not what I'm calling, what's called uh, the feminine wound. Okay. And I know that term gets kind of thrown around a lot, but I really want to talk to you about there are masculine wounds and feminine wounds. And I want to kind of pull that apart for you so that you can understand how that works with the person's energy. Okay. And I really hope this is going to help you. Also, I'm really considering, just from the feedback that I'm getting, uh, I have a YouTube channel that I don't do a whole lot on. It's supposed to make, it's had some tarot readings and some different stuff like that, but I haven't done a whole lot with it because I've been mostly focused on my healing work. But what I'm thinking I might do is just focus that channel more toward twin flames because I think that there is just so much to do. Okay. And I think that uh, when you cannot get your hands on information that shows you a way out of the way that you've been thinking, the terminology and the language is so demoralizing, and you begin to think you've got to heal forever. So I want you to understand that is not true. We are not projects, and I'm going to keep saying that. We're not healing projects. When I heal people, I said, the fewer times you got to see me, the better. So I want to get them the informational resources that I can get them to pull them out of whatever it is. And so what I'm looking at right now is kind of like the architecture of how we think. Okay. And now with my other videos that I did, and you might be able to find them. I might put them on my channel. I'm trying to decide because I don't want this to be campy. I really want this to help you because when I experienced my awakening, it was very sudden. Um, I received all of my gifts at one time, and there was a whole lot of other stuff going on, and I did not have a guide. I did not have somebody that was offering me the information that I needed to really understand how all of this stuff works before you start talking about all this other twin flame stuff. Understand, twin flame terminology is really, if you go back and you look at people like Eckhart Tolle or others, uh, it's really talking about energy ethics. Okay, surrender, union, reunion. These are energetic terms. Okay, this isn't about a love story where um, I don't know how to put this because it was a love story to me. Okay. It doesn't mean you don't love this person. What it does mean, though, is you're going to love them so, so very much. And if you can't come from the proper foundation of understanding what that means and what you're bringing into the situation energetically, it's just going to keep flying back like it's like, I can't even tell you. Okay. And I don't want that for you. Okay. Because that's not the twin flame journey necessarily. Okay. The twin flame journey is one of ascension. The ego death is the beginning. The awakening is the awakening of your gifts. That is when you reach out to your soul guide. Okay? That's when you reach out to a soul guide to stand in and basically represent you interdimensionally. That's super important. Uh, so please be thinking about that. Okay? Okay. So let's see here. So what I'm going to do here, I'm trying to think about how I want to start this. Um, I believe I had done a video already about relationship dynamics with twins. Okay. Now, what I'm going to talk about with the feminine wound, I'm going to give a scenario of somebody, and then or a situation, and then explain how that is different than a masculine wound. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's see here. Let's see if I can get this someday. I'll be all fancy. But a whiteboard is so important to visualize complicated concepts, I think. So I'm quite appreciative of this as well. All right, here we go. Okay, so something that the way I've described it to people, a feminine, you can receive a feminine wound from a mother or a father. It's not whether or not a man or a woman wounded you or gave you a sense of inferiority in some way when you were younger. It's their style. So, for example, you could have a mother or grandmother or whomever, some female figure in your life that was showing you who you were when you were little, that was very masculine in their approach. And by what I mean by masculine, their approach was toxic masculinity. Number one, that's how it wounds you. Okay. But it was dominating you. It's telling you your experience for yourself, mocking you if you were sad, or telling you, it's just stop crying. You don't need to cry, or I'll give you something to cry about. Okay. So that can happen from a father figure or a mother figure using toxic masculinity as their approach to educating you about how to move through your world. Does that make sense? The feminine wound, oh, this is a legacy of woundedness passed down either from, again, a mother or a father figure who did not know how to healthfully express themselves spiritually and emotionally in a way that nurtured somebody else. And what you're going to see here, and if you recognize this in yourself, be happy about that, okay? Because this is the first step to letting go of something, okay? So if um, typically this is somebody that abandoned themselves at a very young age because that was the only tool they had at the time, and it takes a place, it starts to become self-abandonment. And so what they're saying to the little ones without even realizing, they think they're giving them a hand up. Like, I'm going to show you the ropes because this is how the world really works. No, no, it isn't. It's only the way the world works if we keep telling each other that's the way the world works and we agree. We don't have to agree. We don't have to agree. Okay. Now, as little ones, it may not have been safe to disagree. And I understand that your tools that you picked up when you were little are saying, okay, may have taught you to abandon yourself too. Because you said, I guess I should stop crying. I guess maybe I don't have really that big of an issue going on here. Maybe I should just stop crying altogether. And you start separating from your emotions. Okay. Your way of expressing how you're feeling, that's wounded. That's a feminine wound. Okay. Now, just knowing that, I'm going to kind of go back a little bit. Let's see if I can pull this thing over here so we can get like a straight up view of what's going on. Next time, maybe I'll just put this down and sit in front of it first. See, I'm just getting better every moment. Okay, so uh, uh, this is going to be a bit of a repeat, but if you haven't seen my other stuff, that's okay. This is going to help you, okay? So, as I have drawn before, we've got the human being here, okay? And you've got your energy system. Up until the time you are 7 or 8, you are in theta. That's a brainwave pattern where it's a hypnotic pattern. So if somebody's hypnotizing somebody, they are placing you in a state of rest. No, I won't hypnotize you. Placing you in a state of rest where your consciousness is released and relaxed, and you are taking in what they're saying, and they can help reorganize your subconscious. Okay? When you're little, we are born this way. We are in theta. Our brain waves are in theta, and we are taking in everything subconsciously that we are watching the people in our lives do. And that helps us learn about who you are. Who are you, and what value do you bring? These are the two biggies. And I'm doing so much work with people on that stuff, moving it out of their spinal cords. Okay? Because it's going into their nervous system's learning process through their neurons in their body and creating energy patterns out of their chakras that are advertising all kinds of stuff that they don't know they're advertising. Okay? So think about that for a little bit, especially twins. Think about this because there's the added bonus of being a twin. It's enough we're out there and you are advertising your pattern, but there are people that are not picking up on that, or they're doing their own thing or whatever. Or there's areas where you've got stuff worked out. So maybe work, you're like, no, I know what I'm bringing. I know what I'm bringing. But when it comes to this, I don't know what I'm bringing. And so I'm noticing it. I'm constantly having these issues. You've got stuff going on in that subconscious, that early architecture is your subconscious mind. It is your framework for your perspective of reality. Do you get that? Huge, 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 huge. Okay. Now, as a twin, your added bonus is this other person, your twin, has the same core frequency as you do. They are not the same. They do not have the same consciousness as you do. Their spirit, your conscious self awareness is your spirit, is their spirit is not your spirit. You have free will. Each of you as the divine feminine, are activated first, typically. I mean, I have never heard of it. It's the time that we're living on this planet right now of ascension, where the feminine is waking up first because toxic masculinity is needing to be healed after thousands of years of just inharmonious energy on this planet. We're moving to fourth density, and twins, us working on our energy is already, when you work on yourself, you're doing a whole lot more than you think you're doing. Okay. Now I know I'm kind of like moving around like this, but all of this is so important if you didn't get my other videos. Okay. So, um, so something else that's super important that people don't realize sometimes is that your mind is an electromagnetic field in a different dimension. Okay. And that mind, some people, your subconscious mind is part of that. This is that early, non-reflective way of thinking about who you are and what you bring, that if you don't recognize as you're growing older, that you can let go of those things, they become habits of thought and ways of being that make you think, because of what you're advertising out into the world, that's just the way the world is. No, it's not. It isn't. It's not true. Okay. Um, so this is in a different dimension. Okay. And all of these other minds. Okay. Mind one. I made a chart like this a long time ago when I was learning about this stuff. I'm a researcher by, like, I guess in my former life, if you want to call it that, a researcher. And so I was putting together all these different concepts and lessons that I was learning all these years. And this is just reminding me of that. I was learning from my soul guides how all of this worked, because I had 100 billion gazillion questions about science and math and you name it that we worked through. And that's what I'm sharing with you. Okay. And it's the truth, the big T truth. Okay. I can promise you that. And when you recognize that, it heals you and your body knows it. Body knows it. Your mind just has to catch up. Okay. So see, you got mind one, that's your mind. Mind two, mind three, and just however many billions of people are on the planet. Okay. Now, what happens, there's such a thing, and I'm sure you've heard of this, the collective consciousness. Okay. And then even people like Jung said there was a collective unconscious, right? That's the symbols and the things that we agree on. I tend to agree. Okay. So I also agree there's a collective subconscious. That's what I've been working with my soul guide to heal and remove from the collective consciousness so that we can shift to a higher frequency. So these can pull together, right, around categories of interest in real time. So if you've ever heard of people that can channel the collective consciousness, people like Tesla, people that invent, artists that flow, and then they get this song that they're like, oh my gosh, it's the very best of human creativity. Channeling, they're able to perceive by relaxing and receiving that inspiration, right? It pulls together and it's like music. Because I'm like, music. mathematical invention, whatever it is. Okay? Okay. So that's all in a different dimension of reality. And, not of reality, I don't know why I said it that way, just in another dimension. Okay? So your brain here is receiving, is a receiver. Your brain receives certain frequencies. So when you're healed and um, you have let go of a lot of the subconscious baggage. What I'm doing when we're doing this, when you become when the subconscious is made conscious, for some of you that's happening through this video. If you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, when you're aware, now we're cooking because you can let go of stuff. It's no longer subconscious. It's no longer hidden from you. Then you have a choice. We have free will. You have a choice. Your twin has a choice. Your twin has a choice to ever become interested in this stuff. Okay, and it does not necessarily reflect upon you. Let yourselves off the hook a little bit, you all. You're not responsible for everything. You're responsible as divine feminine for creating an environment that nurtures balanced masculine action if it's there. If it's not, it'll be somewhere else. In your gifts and anything, it'll be somewhere else. You're not reliant upon that. Okay? All right. So when we clear out this subconscious, get all this junk out of here, right? You are then have access to your higher mind. Some people call that your higher self. It's your spirit. Your spirit, again, is your conscious self-awareness. That's what your spirit is. When that conscious self-awareness is mostly in the subconscious and it's nagging at you all the time, or it's walking around like it's got a crutch and like, oh my gosh, this life sucks. All of this stuff, you're not connected to your highest self. Okay? Your higher self is not a different being. Now, some people say that, and I'm sorry, I don't believe it. Okay? Your higher self is your greatest and best version of you. And I know that people used to say, oh, your higher self is your future self. Sorta, if you want to look at it as in my highest, best self. I don't think it needs to be your future self. It can be yourself right now. Okay? You just got to be like, always tapping into what you would consider to be the best version of yourself without somebody else. Your value, what you're stepping into a room with. Now, we didn't get, if you grew up with these wounds, it's not as easy, is it? Okay. So, what's happening is we're receiving this. Our brain is receiving the frequency. Say it's that not of the higher mind, that the brain, then the chemistry of your brain is being connected to a negative mindset. So you got all kinds of brain chemistry stuff. People then end up getting on antidepressant, a variety of things because their neurons are not firing properly. And it's going down through their brainstem into their spinal cord and informing how their body operates. And that's why they feel sick sometimes when they're disempowered or depressed. And then their heartbeat, which is how your soul is manifesting through you, your heartbeat is generating a magnetic field. And that magnetic field, if it has a bunch of triggers in it from your subconscious in old times, they're just bouncing back and hitting you. Whenever you get into a certain situation, you may not even understand why it's triggering you, but you might be like, so here's where we're going to talk about this. And I'll try not to go too awfully long. I'm looking at the clock. Okay. Triggers. This is where what we're talking about. I'm just going to go ahead and do both. I'm not going to do a separate video for masculine wounds. I just think that's like really redundant. Okay. If you have feminine triggering, okay? Number one, what I want you to understand, some people, if you are somebody that goes, oh gosh, my neck is just killing me when you're stressed, or oh, my stomach, I think I'm going to be sick. Oh, I got a sinus, oh, that kind of stuff. You are storing your triggers in your body by the way you talk. And I really want to encourage you to release that if you can, okay? Because it's in your energy field. And when you start to not feel good, And your mindset flows here. It's like, pew, and your energy field is just hitting you wherever it's going to hit you. So releasing that. I do that in energy work. I don't know if I can do that for you, but what I would say is just take a deep breath. Just for a moment, be still. This will do a lot for you. Okay, so feminine triggers have to do with abandonment quite often. Uh, and so even if you don't realize it, somebody doesn't text you right back. It's all about worthiness, and it's in your root chakra, the base of your spine. Worthiness. If this is not coming from a good place, if you were not made to feel worthy when you were little, like you're not a priority right now, please stop bothering me right now. I've got other stuff I need to be doing. Okay. If you were not made to feel worthy, you picked up tools that helped you cope with that. It's a coping mechanism. You don't want to have coping mechanisms activated in your life. It means you're coping with your life, your whole life. Do you see what I mean? No bueno. You don't want that. You want to experience the joy of life. And you can. You really can. I've been through, you can, because I am. So you can. If I can, I know you can. Okay? All right. So this worthiness piece, I want you, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. If you're divine feminine, you're tuning in right now, and I know you are. Okay? If there's a worthiness thing going on here, what you're going to, there's a few different things I've noticed in the twin flame community. Pardon me, I'm going to take a sip of my coffee here. Now, you're going to be able to tell in the question or the post that you put up. Okay? And I tell this a lot, even when people that want tarot. I'm like, let's just let my soul guide tell you, give you a snapshot of your environment right now. Because the moment, the question isn't a vibration of the problem. So whatever your question is on these Facebook posts, I want you to go ahead and type them. And then I want you to read it before you push submit. And just really spend some time with that, because that'll be the first page in your journal. Get a journal and say, this is my very first page. I dedicate it to myself. The shadow work begins. Shadow work, listen, y'all, it's not a big deal. It's not like a party or something, but it's not a big deal. All it is, I'll give you an example. Okay? Say you're somebody, let's see, what kind of question? Here's a popular one. So I don't know what's going on with my twin. I texted him or her. They didn't get back with me, and I know they're with their karmic. I could spend a lot of time on that statement alone. It drives me nuts. Karmic drives me nuts. Okay, it's dehumanizing another human being for being with somebody that is probably going to end up having their heart broken. So we as twins, you're here in service to others. That's your mission, whatever it is. And so, like, really start stepping away from that language if you can, please. I'm not judging you. I promise you that. There's not a judgmental bone in my body. It's not good for you to talk that way about other human beings that are suffering. Because I can guarantee you, if you fell in love with somebody that was somebody else's twin, can you imagine they never quite love you? You start to notice it. They meet you. They meet somebody, and suddenly it's like you're not important anymore. You might start doing some weird stuff because you've been triggered. That doesn't make you like the karmic. It means you're a human being that's like, oh my gosh, I thought I was in love with this person. Now they just don't even give a crap about me at all. We don't rejoice that when that happens to the person in love with our twin. And our twin has stuff to work out, especially. So here's the thing. Here's the thing I'll hear. And they said this and they said that, but they're just still with their karmic. Okay, there is something going on with you, and I'm not blaming you. Somewhere in your life, when you were little, you were not made a priority. Somebody was saying to you, not right now, maybe later. I don't have time for that right now. That's a nice way of putting it. They could have been beating you up. They could have been alcoholic parents that never took care of you, and alcohol was more important to them than you, and you knew it, but you found a way to love them because you needed to love them. You are abandoning yourself when you're little because you need to. That is a tool. Okay? Now, that tool, thank goodness for that tool. Whatever you did when you were little to make sense of that world, you did it. Here you are. And we don't live in a world that takes kids and sits them down when they're 8 or 9 and says, "How you doing, sweet pea? You know what? I see you're doing this or you're doing that. Let's let that go and let me explain to you what's going on." Do you know when I see kids now, I'm like, oh, when I'm working with their parents, I'm helping them understand. Don't do this in front of your children and think you're doing them a favor. Lose the language, or they're going to have to come see me in 20 years. And I don't want them to. I prevent that. Okay. So if you have been placed in second place through your parents or whatever, or money was more important, your parents had to work, it doesn't, they don't have to be evil people doing this to you. Whatever it was where you were learning about who you are and and what you mean, what your value is, if you did not feel valuable just for being alive, for being born, that doesn't surprise me. We're living in a time of generational disconnect. Okay? Don't feel like it's just you. I have yet to heal somebody who doesn't have something I need to clear out because it's the time we're living in. Okay? So, there was a time, I want you to write this down and I want you to consider um, getting just a notebook. It doesn't have to be fancy, or you can just do whatever you want to do. Okay? The I learned about my value the first time, and then just start writing and keep writing and keep writing. If you have to cry, cry. When you are crying, you are releasing energy that's been in there for a long time. And can I just tell you something? When you're a twin or anybody, your job isn't giving you a raise, whatever's going on there, but when you're twin, somebody you're in love with doesn't have time for you, they're never going to have time for you. They are designed to step you onto the path of ascension by first going through the shadow work, your ego death, removing these triggers. Because when you're coming to them, expecting that from them, they cannot give it to you. And until you heal that, they will not sense the absence of what you used to be doing and then be placed in a position to step up and start doing something a little bit differently. And a lot of people don't get that. They're like, "Oh, I'm the divine feminine, and this really freaking sucks. I have to do everything." Imagine being somebody that doesn't even know why. They don't know why they're doing what they're doing to you any more than you know why. When you start doing this journaling, and I've told this to others, when you go through the ego death, you will develop a sense of compassion for others doing things they don't understand they're doing. Because you'll be like, "I didn't even realize I was doing that." I'm looking for my worthiness in all kinds of places that I'm never going to find it because I really need to find that from myself by beginning, first of all, again, reach out to your soul guide who loves you unconditionally. They'll give you information that you need, put you on the path, and you'll just start noticing things and raising your vibration, healing this, understanding nobody can give you this worthiness you didn't get when you were little. Okay? So that triggering, oh, it's the worst feeling when they're doing things where you're like, "But they're my twin. They should love me unconditionally," and all these things. They don't know how to do it because your energy is pushing them away. It's so needy that it's like, "I can't even handle that. That's way too much." And if you were all being honest with yourselves, you've got at least one family member or somebody, a coworker or somebody that's like, every time you ask, I'm not saying this is you. I'm giving you an example. You've had a coworker where you're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And they always go,
well, and you're like, oh man. After a while, you're like, all right, I didn't mean like literally, how are you doing? Like for 20, 30 minutes. I just was like, kind of, how's it going? Right now, you're not doing that. Your vibe is, and they're like, this is too much. I don't even know what's going on. There's too much pressure here. In one text, they can feel it. When you're thinking about it, they can feel it. You've got to let it go and start focusing on your spiritual gifts and the beautiful things about you. Okay? So that's the feminine wound. And I'm going to kind of quickly go to the masculine side of this. The masculine wound is where you are hard on yourself, or no. Here's what I'm going to say. I'll make it simpler. I've likened the masculine wound when somebody's been triggered by toxic masculinity when they were younger. I liken it to your energy field. If you have a masculine protection, um, it pushes out. Feminine wound protection draws in and just sucks the life out of something. Does that make sense? Um, One's just like, and I've compared it to a bug zapper. And anybody you come around, they start having a certain way about them. You'll be like, kind of like, is this person going to say something inappropriate to me? Because there's this feeling somebody's going to start attacking you out of nowhere or just doing something, and you'll be like, and it might be somebody that doesn't even want to do that with you, but you're on guard all the time, and you will never ever get the best out of people because you will only um, draw that kind of behavior out of people with that kind of energy. Because they'll just be like, what the? I'm going to just stay away from this person. I feel like they're like, I don't know what's going on with this person. And then you'll be like, I don't have any friends. Something must be wrong with me. And then the next person comes up to you, you're like, maybe they think something's wrong with me too. So do you see what I'm saying? Okay. All right. So truly, this worthiness piece, uh, do consider doing some writing on this and continue writing until you start to feel better. I'd also like to recommend looking into there's a book by Dr. Hawking called Letting Go, and he gives this beautiful description of how to truly grieve. We don't know how to grieve. We haven't been taught. And that cry until it's boring. You got to get that energy out. Okay? Okay. All right. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments. I feel like I'm one of those, like, I don't know. Anyway, please put it in the comments or message me, because I the questions I'm getting and the work that I'm just the questions I'm getting, I want to be able to provide answers because there are questions that a lot of people have. Okay? All right. I want you to have a beautiful day, and thanks so much, everybody. Take care.